Saturday night on the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on YikesRadio.com. How you guys doing tonight? Let's get to tagging.
No, they weren't shot. They just got lifted to the hospital.
Anyway, guys.
Right,
I'm
but
excited.
for the shooting in Compton, right?
Tag.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
And it's up to 600,000.
How you guys doing?
$675,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
And apparently,
It's not letting me tag. There we go. Hi guys. It's Saturday night on the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on YikesRadio.com, guys. Oh my goodness, I got a big show for us tonight. Everybody, we're gonna have a great time. Let's move these cameras around. Hello, Facebook world. Hello, YouTube Live. Hello, Zoom.
Oh, really?
We're just having a blast. So, guys, check it out.
Okay,
I've got Fetteroff in the house tonight.
Oh, that's right.
Fetteroff is Fetteroff.
All right, I'm going to open the
So hold on, guys. Hold on with me. A little bit of technical, but it ain't nothing I can't handle. How's everybody doing?
Hot.
I'm excited. Here we go. Let's unmute. Ooh, this time goes by fast. Good evening and welcome everybody to the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on YikesRadio.com. Now guys, here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving my listeners thinking and saying in unison, everybody, yikes! Yikes Radio. There he goes, guys. That was the sultry sounds of my mentor. That is the Mr. Kevin Nash. Now, everybody, Kevin Nash is the owner of YikesRadio.com and AccelerateRadio.net. These are his brainchilds, everybody. And if it were not for Kevin Nash and his dreams and his passion, it would not allow me to do what I so love to do. So because of that, I always honor and respect Mr. Kevin Nash for his name in the radio game and for me to be able to fashion myself after he in the female version and just taking it to a whole new level. So I love you, Mr. Kevin Nash. And then I'd like to give a very special thank you and shout out to my sister, everyone, Miss Lori Ray Fisher of Gigi Productions and Entertainment Company, everybody. Now my sister, everybody, I love her so much. She helps me in all my dreams and endeavors and everything that we do on the show. So I just wanted to give her honor and respect and love. And then I also want to give some very, very special shout outs to some more of our sponsorships. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be at Mr. Charlie 305, ladies and gentlemen, to be talking about a platinum recording artist. So I just love to talk about him. He's straight out of Miami. And then everybody, I like to give a shout out to Big Tap Consulting and Promotions, everybody. He has been a major attribute to us here at the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips, everybody. Oh my God, we've got so many more sponsors. I got to give a very exciting shout out to G Babies Catering. Shout out to Chef Mac, everybody. You can find this guy on Instagram at GBABBIES.com. And again, that's G Babies Catering, everybody. So you definitely want to check him out. And I appreciate you for that. But it doesn't stop there, everybody. I still have more sponsorships. I'd like to give a shout out to WMPJ Steelworks and APS muscle cars, everybody. But I want to tell you something special about APS muscle cars, guys. He's got some new things going on over there. And what we are doing now, we are doing vehicle storage, right? So let's say, for instance, you have a vehicle, motorcycle, bikes, whatever you got, and you wanted to make sure it's safe and sound because you got too much at the crib, or you may not want people to know what you got, and you need a spot to hide it in. Whatever your fancy, we can take care of that for you at APS Muscle Cars. And the person that you want to talk to is the big guy, Memo. That's MEMO with APSmusclecars.com. So I want each and every one of you to check him out, everybody, okay? So I think we can slow the train down just a little bit in terms of my high energy. So we are back. I'm going to tune back over to JackieRadio.com. So hold on, guys. I'm muted over here, but welcome Facebook. Thank you so much. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Larry. Hello, Peter. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hi, Terry. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I have got a very special guest in the house, guys. I want you guys to share this, please. And also, if you can do it, two things. Maybe if you go on and check out what's going on at the YouTube, guys. My YouTube is getting hot, and I need you guys to make it hotter. So, Ricky, tell your friends. Peter, tell your friends. Terry, the POJ Show, right? The POJ Show with JackieRay.
Hey guys, so sorry for that. We had
because we're doing live stream both places, guys. So we do it all,
can you hear
right?
me?
Okay, so I've got a big show tonight. We've got Fetteroff.
Yes, you can hear me,
In
Fetteroff?
the house, everybody.
I can't hear you though.
We have got
Are you
Fetteroff,
talking?
Colen. This guy has worked with Eddie Murphy at Eddie Murphy Productions for well over 30 years.
Turn up
and
your
I want to give
volume
a
a
shout out
little
to
bit.
Big Tap Promotions and Consulting for bringing this to the show. So I'm super juiced, super excited. We're going to get started.
Okay, let's.
Now? Okay, there you
Yes.
go.
There you go.
Perfect. How you doing, Fetteroff?
Awesome.
Excellent. How are you guys?
Hi.
Oh,
Thank you. Thanks,
My
Big Tat.
God. Good evening, Fetteroff. How are you tonight?
Great. How is everybody?
I'm well. Thank you so much for asking so much. So Fetteroff, I'm just going to kind of maybe dive in a little bit and let you know what we're doing tonight. Thank you so much for getting here on the technical side. And what we do is I have our live streams, a couple going on simultaneous. Well, we're doing a quad here. And I'm so excited because what we get to do, we're on that YikesRadio.com platform. I think I may have spoken to you about, and that's, web-based, internet-based, again, with the collaboration with my mentor, Mr. Kevin Nash. And then we're also, through his platform, we're also live on Acceleratedradio.net. So we're on that simultaneous platform there, Fetteroff. In addition to our Facebook live stream is what we're doing. So we usually generate about 350 viewers live while we're here tonight and have commentary throughout the show. And then also really driving our YouTube channel fed. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of a live stream there, but then also a very full and more comprehensive version of the show. Fetteroff, Lori will have that for us like later tonight or tomorrow. So I just want you to know that we're making it our most best efforts. And so we are for sure in about 111 countries. And we have a really good standing right now in Morocco, in Haryana, India, the UK, and Algeria. So, and I told all my friends in those areas to tune in tonight, and I've already seen some headway here. I've got Tennessee in the house, and we've got a lot of people who's really excited to talk to you tonight. So thank you so much again, sir, for your time.
Great, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you, Tab. I love what you guys are doing. So
I appreciate it.
yeah.
There is so much to do, Lori. I'm excited, Lori. Did you want to go first and I won't be so selfish and I can have the best for like later, like a couple seconds? Or I've got, because we have your list of 8 questions fed. But Lori, did you want to say anything to our very special guest tonight before we get the train chugging?
I do. I want to say thank you. We are so grateful that you're here and joining us tonight. And I am just so inspired by who you are. I mean, when I was reading all about you, there's a word that came to mind, and that was Renaissance. I mean, you have done so many things that you are clearly a Renaissance man. And where I would like to start is probably all the way back at the beginning, right? When you're from Philadelphia, is that correct?
Yeah. Philly. West
So-
Philly.
Okay, so why don't you tell us
Where
a little
Tab
bit?
is from? About West Philly?
Say it again.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Tell you about where I'm from?
Yeah, well, one of our questions was to start off is about your move from Philadelphia to New York. So, how was life in Philadelphia growing up, and how did you end up or find yourself in New York?
Yeah.
Life in Philly, when I grew up in Philly, life was fun. It's a lot of fun. And I grew up in the area of West Philly, and I actually grew up in at the time in the 70s where there were a lot of gangs, and my whole family was gang affiliated. My brothers, my cousins, my aunts, they were part of this gang called the Moon Gang. So I grew up around that for years, and I never wanted to be a part of it. I always wanted to be like the mastermind of if I got really deep into it, I wanted to be like the mastermind person to get these guys out of it so that they can do, legal stuff, So, and then, it's like, I was always that type of guy. I was always thinking about, how could I do something to stop this from happening and make everything legal where guys went from the gang to becoming Muslims to becoming drug dealers, So I was a part of, I wasn't in the gang because I didn't have to because my brothers and cousins were in it. So I was protected by the gang. I knew all the gang dudes. I know them right now. The guys who still survive, they're in their 60s now, and I know a lot of those guys. Some of them are still in prison. Some of them are dead, and some of them are still in Philly. So, and I still talk to some of these guys, they're 60s, 65, maybe approaching 70, somewhere around there. I know those guys, and I used to hang out with those guys when I was between 13 and 15. I mean, be in their cars, be with them, and I was a kid. And they would take me around with them, and there was this one guy, Jerry knows him too, named Basil. His name was Milton Basil. And Basil was he was a real gangster. And he was very, very feared and he's a dangerous person, and I knew him. He was my friend. He was my cousin. He used to come to my grandmother's house with my cousin. And my cousin was a member of the gang. His name was Glenn Cook. And Glenn Cook used to work used to work and roll with Basil. And then there was another guy named, I forget his first name, his name was Shackleford. And Shackleford lived in West Philly off of 60th and Market on a street called Edgewood. And then around in 1970, maybe 70 or 71, Shackleford got killed. And Shackleford he was a really cool guy. He was about 6'3", light-skinned dude. And he came from a good family, and he used to dress in these long, I forget the name of those coats, Chesterfield coats, and these hats called Bassolini hats, like the real gangsters. That's how they used to dress. And he got killed in 1970 or 71, and the way he got killed, it horrified me. I was horrified. I must have been 11 or 12, I don't know. And I knew both of his brothers. I knew his whole family. And the way he got killed, he was murdered. His body was burned. He was shot and burned.
Oh my God.
And left in an abandoned house. And we knew the house. I knew the place where his body was found. So I was horrified then. And that's when I was like, I gotta find a way out. I'm not gonna be a statistic.
Right.
That's never gonna happen to me. I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to end up on drugs.
Right.
And I'm not going to kill my own people. I'm not selling drugs to my own people. So that was my whole, that became my whole motivation and drive for me to succeed. Just from being horrified by the death of Shackelford.
Wow.
And then my cousin got killed in 1973.
Oh my God.
He was 17 years old. He got stabbed in high school. And they pulled me out of school. I was in school. I was in 5th grade. The teacher came and tapped me on my shoulder and took me out of school. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Wow.
And it's those kind of things that really, for me, that really shaped my direction of what I was going to do, and let nothing stop me or stand in my way.
Right.
And I still have that drive and passion, and I still have that. That's where Presto came from, and that's where that poem, I Wasn't Supposed to Make It, came from. I think I sent you, Lori.
Yes.
Because, you know, that when I realized all the stuff that I experienced, and not just me, Tapper too. He's from the same area. He knows the same people I'm talking about.
Right.
You know.
When Fett introduced me, we basically grew up in West Philly together. And my grandfather lived right around the corner from Fed. Excuse me.
Okay.
My grandfather lived right around the corner from Fed. And me and Fed used to see each other, but...
Well, Tap was actually bad. Tap was a gangster.
Uh-oh.
Tap was a gangster.
Tapper.
Hey, his grandfather never wanted me to hang with him because he was real bad.
My grandfather and me and Fed really got acquainted because actually Fed used to laugh at me and my brother because we'd be on the porch hanging out, and my grandfather liked Fed a lot because he used to talk to him, and Fed had a way with people. He would speak to them, and you know, just he liked to speak to older people and get the knowledge from them. And my grandfather one day introduced me and my brother to Fed, and from there, this is like early 70s. And we became acquainted, and me and Fed just were the same age, and we started hanging and, you know, and grew together with each other. And Fed brought me, everything he said, he brought me into light on a lot of things. And meeting the brother Brazil, and, you know, being in the city like that, and be a part of the Moon Gang and all the gangs we were affiliated with and stuff like that. And when you're young, it kind of gives you a source of power, but it's really leading down the wrong path. But it's also something like a togetherness. Like when you're in a gang, man, you know, the gang loves each other too. Right. You're getting that love that you know that you may not be getting at home, or you may be, but they take a liking in you if you're a cool dude. But me and Fed, we had each other to pull with, and he put me on to a lot of stuff. His brothers and sisters, and I had a lot of brothers and sisters, and we started traveling. And Fed was just like, his journey was just incredible, and he's getting ready to embark on that whole journey right now. So, you know, hold on and listen to what this man is saying, because this man got a lot to say, guys. I mean, Fetteroff is incredible, and our friendship has been through so many stages, and it has elevated to, you wouldn't believe what, you know, the journey and the lengths we have gone to with each other. And I'm delighted, and I'm so pleased and happy that he's here to talk about it. And he kicked it off. You know, I knew he would be ready to, you know, kick it off. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Fetteroff.
So, Fetteroff, how did the journey lead to New York City? Why there?
Okay, so this happened in New York. This is what happened in New York. I have a sister, my oldest sister. Her name is Venus. She ended up. I mean, because of the death of my cousin, he got killed at a school in West Philly called Overbrook High School. So when it was time for me to graduate junior high and go to high school, I had a choice of schools to go to. It was either go to Overbrook or go to West Philly High. And I knew for a fact, had I gone to either one of those schools, I wouldn't be here now. I know that for a fact. So my sister, Venus, she took a test to go to a vocational school called Bach Tech, which is in South Philly. And because she did that, I took the lead and I followed her instead of following my brothers and cousins and everybody else. And I said, you know what? Let me take this test and see if I can go to this school. So I took the test and I passed the test. And I didn't even think I was going to pass the test because I only passed tests, when I felt like it. I was the type of student, I did well when I felt like it. I did just enough to get by,
Right.
I took that test, I passed. And I was like, I'm gonna go to this school. But I knew I had to make that decision because, like I said, had I gone to either one of those other schools, I would have been a mess because of the guys that I would hang with and just the type of guy that I am. I just know what I'm capable of.
Right.
And when I was in junior high school, I used to collect guns.
Wow.
I started collecting guns because I grew up, liking guns from cowboy movies and stuff like that. So my mom used to give me, toy guns. So I graduated from toy guns to real guns.
Wow.
And I collected guns. I had all kinds of guns, I had a 38, I had a 45, I had a rifle, and I started carrying those guns out of the house, And one time, my brother, he was in the streets. He was out there, and I was in 10th grade. I went to Bach, and I'm gonna get how I got to New York.
Okay.
But I remember when I got to Bach, I was on my way to school one day, and this guy was supposed to paint my car. He lived on Jerry's grandfather's block. His name was Al.
Okay.
And Al had my car for like 8 months, and he was supposed to paint my car. So on my way to school, I would go through Jerry's grandfather's block to get to the school. Catch the L, go down South Philly, go to school. Anyway, I saw this guy one morning before I was going to school. I was in 10th grade. I'm on my way to school. I'm like, Al, where's my car? And he was like, he said some words to me and just, whatever. And I got so angry, I went back to my house, got my shotgun. Walked out of my house. This is 7 a.m. Walked out of the house with my shotgun, went to his house, and I shot up his front house. Now I'm in 10th grade now. I'm in 10th grade. So I shoot up his house, and I go. I'm about to go back home, and I go. I don't go around the front. I go around the back so I can go through the alley and go through my backyard. And as I'm about to cross the street, to cross the other side, this guy named Corey Gregg, who lives in Philly, a friend of mine, he's driving his car. He sees me, and he's like, yo, man, what are you doing? I had this big shotgun in my hand. I jumped in his car, and he drove me around the block, and we went around the block, and I went through the alley, went in the house, put the gun up, and then I went to school, went down South Philly. And after that happened, I came home, and people knew what happened, and I thought about it. I was like, wow, I'm lucky because first of all, Al has a family with kids, and I could have I could have hurt somebody. Somebody could have seriously got hurt, and then I could have got caught with that gun. Yes. So that's when I realized, all right, I really, really gotta change my life and change everything with my direction. So the school Bach, there was a teacher named Mr. DeMarco. And Mr. DeMarco, he was a history teacher, and he had an after school program called the World Affairs Club. So I eventually joined this club because I always had an interest in international, countries, and I was always intrigued by Fidel Castro and a lot of dictators. Omar Sadat from Egypt, Fidel Castro, just people like that. Because Fidel used to wear the army uniform, and I always liked that. And he's sort of like Fidel always. He was always his own man, and they didn't do what America wanted them to do. So I was intrigued by that. So I joined this club called the World Affairs Club in high school, and by joining that club, they took us on a trip to New York City, and that was my introduction to New York City. So we went to the United Nations on a class trip, and that's how I first went and discovered New York City. And I remember being on the bus when we came through the Lincoln Tunnel, and I'm looking out of the window. We're on 42nd Street. Jerry knows that street very well. And I'm looking out, I'm like standing by the window, and I'm just like awestruck at what I'm seeing visually and the energy of New York.
Oh my God.
That's how I discovered and fell in love with New York City.
Oh my God.
And then I realized New York City was so close to me, and so I was like, from that point on, I was like, somehow, some way, I'm gonna get back to New York. So I eventually went back to New York after I graduated high school. And I went back to New York with a guy by the name of Gary. I forget Gary's last name, but Gary he's from Philly. He takes pictures with all these celebrities all over the world. He's famous for like being he's like a paparazzi type of dude. His name is Gary. I forget Gary Watson. That's his name. Gary Watson. You guys should get this guy on your show.
I can help you get him
on your show.
Gary Watson.
He's phenomenal. He's got pictures with Frank Sinatra, Liberace, Peter Sellers, all these great actors. He has photos with them and stories. You should get him on your show. But he took me to New York when we were on the set of Trading Places, and that's how I met Eddie Murphy and all that stuff. And that's what took me to New York.
Wow.
Oh my God, I love New York too. I love New York, Fed. It's like it's the energy. My sister blessed me for the very first time. She took me on a trip to the city, and it's just an energy that I could never shake. So then what we would do is Lori more, but Lori was there way more often than me in her travels, but I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that story. I was going to ask you about, based on that story, Fed, and on the poetry that you sent over, which piece would you think is most applicable to this portion of your life? Because if it's okay with you, are you going to recite tonight for us? Or is that more for us to read?
Yeah, you can read it, sure.
You sure?
I mean, I'll recite what I know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you want. I mean, reading is cool too. Whatever.
I want you, because I know you did that neo-soul movement. You were so big in the neo-soul movement, you told us about. So I was thinking, it's you know what I'm saying? Now you're so multi-talented in addition to all of your other Hollywood adventures and all the the way that you paved. I think your poetry is amazing. So it's only befitting to share, in my opinion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, since you guys are into education, I sent you a poem today called "I Suggest," and I think that speaks to a lot of what we all represent in terms of educating our youth and each and every one of our journes. Everybody that's on this call right now in this meeting.
Lori, have you seen that one pulled it up yet, Lori? Because I want us to pull it up so we could do it. I got They Say.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm going to pull up the poetry, sir. Lori, let's pull them up.
I will get it for us.
Okay.
I thought I had it bookmarked, but I didn't. I will get that now.
I mean, this is authentic. This is what we're doing. We're having a good time. We don't have to. Well, I'm not going to feel rushed. I don't want you guys to feel rushed either, because you like it all. So I'm going to just. We're going to keep it together. Keep it together. So, Ooh, this is an awesome one. I have reaching back. Reaching back is awesome. Okay, Faye, well, we're pulling it up. Can you tell us a little bit about your nonprofit, Press On? Can we kind of talk about that a tad while Lori and I pull up?
Press On Youth.
Yeah.
It's an inner city youth program that that a guy by the name of Jerry Carr, who still lives and works in Philadelphia.
Okay.
He now has a health center in Philadelphia in the neighborhood on 60th and Market. He also has an academy for pre-kids in Philadelphia, and we still have Press On Youth, which is a youth development program based out of Philadelphia. We started in the late 80s, like 88 or 89. We started this program, you know, to just, you know, inspire kids, you know, and give kids a purpose and a direction, you know, to be more than or to be anything that they want to be, you know. So that's how Press On Youth came about. You know, it was me, a guy by the name of Jerry Carr, William James out of Brooklyn, New York, you know, and we you know, for a lot of years, we did a lot of activities and programs. We implemented a lot of that in throughout Brooklyn, LA. I worked with Venice High School in LA with some of the faculty and bringing students from Venice High School to the movie studios and giving them tours. When I would shoot films in LA, I got another guy by the name of Dino Georgopoulos, who works with he works with right now he works with a director, director's name, oh my God, big time video director. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, but yeah, I worked a lot with Press On in LA, New York, and Philadelphia. You know, so it's an inner city program. You know, Press On. The Press On is having the health for immortality, having the wealth to share, the power to rule, the personality to charm.
Right.
And you know, it's just a positive program that we have for kids. You know, and we work out of a youth center called Haddington Recreation Center in West Philadelphia. We've had basketball teams, cheerleading teams for the girls, drill teams, basketball programs, etc. And we travel to a lot of colleges. You know, we started. Jerry's a part of this too. Jerry was one of the first people to get us to start taking kids from Philadelphia and sort of like transporting them into different states to finish high school. And Gerald Tapper, he took 3 kids from our program, and he transplanted them into a school called Williamsport High School. That's a school that I think Jerry Tapper was a part of. Okay. So we started funneling some of our kids from Philly to this upstate school called Williamsport High. That's where we started doing that. And Jerry was a part of that. So we still have some of those kids that went to high school there. They ended up staying in Williamsport. And they have families now, you know? So we also had some kids go from Philadelphia to Oregon, Portland, Oregon, all the way on the West Coast. We had some kids go to Los Angeles from our program, you know? So, you know, I have kids right now in LA that are from Philly that started in our program that went to college, graduated college, and I was one of their first coaches, you know, whether it was in basketball or football. So when I see these kids now, I mean, they're like, you know, in their late 30s or whatever, and they see me or whatever, and they're like, you were my first coach, you know, and they still remember the program, which is Press On Youth. So yeah, that's what that's about.
Let me interfere here. The people that Fed helped, the children that Fed helped in Philadelphia is incredible. It's like when we started back in the late 80s, when he started Press On Youth, I never thought it would get to the magnitude of where it's at now and the things. Fed, did they give you a key to Philadelphia?
Wow.
No, they didn't give me a key. What happened was, no, I adopted a school, Barry School, where we built a playground for the kids,
Okay.
and we adopted the school there. But yeah, that's it. We just
That's it. What do you mean? You kidding me right now?
Listen,
That's epic.
this
In my opinion.
glory. The children he has helped and that has prospered from the Press On Youth Organization. I think Larry Fitzgerald played for his team. Look, they have pros that are in the NFL and guys who are in college basketball that comes from Press On Youth Organization.
That's right.
I'm talking about all-stars, and it's incredible. And this comes from a part of the city where crime and drugs and all kind of, undesirable things flourish. And, and Press On Youth gives it more hope than you would ever believe. So, and we don't hear enough, we don't get enough literature on stuff like this. And by Fed telling us this now, it's like, it's just bringing me back. And I realize that this is part of the platform we have to bring back. We got to start bringing about the positive things like Fed. I see you're so humble about the things you have accomplished and the things you did. But when you talk about it and I realize what you've done, man, it's like, I'm honored, man. And
it's not just me, it's you too.
Yes.
I mean, Tap's story. I mean, Tap was stuck in Philadelphia, and I remember I came home one time and I was sitting on my porch because I'll be honest with you, Tapper's grandfather didn't really want me messing with Tap because Tap like really going out there, And Tap made the move. I remember he came by my house one time. I was on the porch. And he was like, hey, man, I want to go to New York with you. And I didn't think he was serious, And he was serious, And I said, all right, I'll tell you when I'm going to New York. And then me and him went to New York together. I had a room. Remember my room, Tap? On 94th and 5th?
Do I remember his room? I'm going to tell you a story.
He came and stayed in my room.
Yikes radio. Yikes.
First of all, let me tell you about, first of all, Fed told me one day I was sitting up in his room, and Fed, I'm going to just tell you, we were younger. Fed was like 19, 20, and we were close. That we used to go to Villanova and play basketball. We used to go to LaSalle College. We was big on going to colleges, campuses, and just hanging out and doing things. But Fed, I was in his room one day and he was showing me how organized he was. He was showing me his guns and this and that. And I was like, damn, this dude is very, very, like, wow. It's like, he's interesting. So then I said, Fed, I found out he said, Jerry, I said, so what is it you want to do, man? He said, Jerry, and he showed me Eddie Murphy. I was not even affiliated with Eddie Murphy yet. He had just got the job with Saturday Night Live. He had this show Delirious. This was before Raw and other things. He had the show Delirious. He said, Jerry, you see this guy here? I'm going to work for this guy. I swear, listen to me, guys. Fed hadn't even met Eddie yet.
That part.
But he told to my face. This guy right here, when he showed me Delirious, he said, I'm going to work for this dude someday.
That part.
And I just let it go, boom, boom, boom. And then getting back to when I first went up to New York, Fed was staying in this room. You wouldn't believe the people that were staying in this building, in this room, but it was amazing. Fed and I always made the worst situations into the best. We was dealing with adversity more than you could ever think of. Because if you guys couldn't stay in this, we wouldn't even bring you here. But this place to me and Fed was the shit. Because we was from the hood, we was in New York, and we didn't care. And when I came up to New York and Fed, I was staying in the room with Fed. And at that time, I kind of knew it, but I didn't do nothing about it. But me, Fed, and a couple of the fellas, we were getting ready to move to a house out with another buddy out in Queens, but we had to stay in this particular room one night, and I took my shoes off, and that's all she wrote. Listen, the dudes, my boy Fed and my boys made me sleep outside in the hallway with the Mexican dudes because my feet was stinking so hard. I'll never forget that. And we tell the story today. Oh, it smelled like corn chips. And to this day, Fed, to let you know, buddy, my feet never stunk after that. I made that clear, but it never happened. But anyway, to get back to, it's incredible, our journey. And just like I said, these stories are so true. And I know we're not going to have enough time to say all the stuff that me and this brother that I loved and did. But I'm going to let you tell as much as he can. But this dude got an incredible story. And it just feels good to release it like this. Because believe me, it's just so much more. And he is incredible. He has the heart of a giant. He has the heart of a giant. And it's nonstop with him. It's not going to stop. It's going to. COVID ain't going to stop him. Prejudice ain't going to stop him. Nothing's going to stop Fetteroff. And you know what? I'm gonna be right there with him until he tells me, you can't be there no more. I'm with him. I got it back. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Fed. Continue, brother. I got you. Whatever story you tell, I'm gonna verify.
I love it, man.
We all got work to do, not just me, all of us. That's our responsibility.
Yes, it is.
I feel I have a responsibility, and that's when and I knew that, like I just told you the story about, when I shot that guy's house up, what could have happened. That's when I knew I had to, be very thoughtful and careful what I did from that point on, because I got to be responsible. That was irresponsible, and God knows what could have happened. That was irresponsible.
I have a question.
I knew for certain that it's about accountability. Life is what you make it. It's about choices. It's about being responsible for the choices you make, owning up to them. It's about being honest with yourself. So that's when I sort of really took on the journey, as Jerry alluded to. Living in the room, the place that we lived in. That was all about sacrifice, because we could have easily just said, you know what, I'm not living here. I'm going back to Philly, because there are people who couldn't cut it. They went back to Philly. I know a bunch of people came to New York. They couldn't cut it.
Wow.
So I refused to give up. I refused to quit. And I don't want to leave out something else. When I moved to New York, I had stayed at a girl's house too. Her name was Valeska Johnson. Her and her boyfriend Dane D'Souza. They helped me a lot too. They had an apartment. They had an extra room, and I stayed there, for a while until I was able to move out and get a job and get my own thing, But it was about making the sacrifices, because there were a lot of challenges, to surviving and living in New York.
Right.
But I was determined. I'm still determined. As Jerry just said, there's just so much more to do, and it's not just about me. I'm not living. I'm not here. I'm not doing what I'm doing because of it's all about me. It's about and it's because the people who came before us, the freedom fighters, the civil rights people, the people on the slave ship, our relatives that survived the slave ship, the journey over here, our relatives that survived, slavery on the plantations, and our relatives that survived Jim Crow, my grandparents who I know from South Carolina, who I knew, my father's mother, who I knew, who was born in the early 1900s, whose mother was a free slave, who I knew. I met my great grandmother, who was born in the 1800s.
Wow.
So it's all that inspires me to do what I'm doing. I'm not just doing it because of me. I'm doing it because of what they have allowed me to, they've given me the freedom and the opportunity because they fought and died for.
Oh, yes.
So that I live with that and carry that. I think about that.
I have a question for you, Fetteroff. Thank you. What do you think when I hear the term "heavy is the head who wears the crown"? Because That's where my mind goes based on what you're stating, sir. So what do you think? Where do you go with that? Uh-oh. Did we lose audio?
And now I think he might be frozen.
Uh-oh, no way. Yikesradio.com, let's see.
Let's see.
I want to ask Gerald, what do you
Maybe it'll come back.
think when you hear, is he going to come in? I think, I hope he comes back.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back.
Oh my God, let's see. Oh no, he probably has to reconvene, huh?
Yeah.
Lori, but what about Big Tap? Question for you, sir. What do you think when you hear heavy is the head who wears the crown?
Heavy is the, excuse me?
Heavy is the head who wears the crown. What do you think about that statement, sir? Mr. Tapper.
Well, that can go off in all kind of ways.
Well, in a healthy way. What's a healthy way we could go about it tonight? I mean, you know, yeah. It's like
I think that means you've got great responsibility, right?
Right.
There are many things that can keep you up at night, and I think it's a hard path to remain inspired, right? To take on that accountability. And listening to Fetteroff talk, it's not about him, how selfless he is in that, right? But about taking on the accountability, the responsibility we have to our community and to the people in it, and our responsibility to create a legacy. I mean, when I hear him speak, you're back, Fetteroff.
Yay!
I'm so happy.
I'm so sad.
Sorry about that.
But I was, I'll just finish up quickly that when I hear you speak, I hear the word that comes to mind for me is legacy.
Yes.
Is that you want to tell the story of the legacy of your lineage, of our people, of your community. And I think that's what we have to do. And I applaud you for that, my brother. I applaud you for that.
Bravo.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think Jackie had asked you the question. You want to repeat your question, Jackie?
Yes, Fed, and it is, heavy is the head who wears the crown. I'm thinking of that listening to your statement, sir, and where I remember that to be most notable for me, where it sparked me and made me think differently, was watching the autobiography of Nicky Barnes. And when he started to speak about it, this is after he had been arrested and the team had begun to turn on him, right? His woman, his side piece was banging one of his boys, and his wife was supposedly seen with some other people that she should not have been seen with. And so I heard he says, heavy is the head who wears the crown. What do you think of that, Fetteroff?
I don't know. I mean, heavy is the head who wears the crown.
Yes.
So is that saying like there's a lot of responsibility on the person that's like Martin Luther King? He wore the crown. So
absolutely.
Was it referring to somebody like him?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think of you. It sounds like what you're doing. You know, you have this huge responsibility that has come with who you are and the things that you stated, how you were like, I cannot allow this to happen to me. I'm going to be different. I have to make a change. And your drive and ambition, your work, your poetry, all that you do, and the humility involved in it, that's just where, and I'm meaning that like with all due respect, and just kind of, you know, want to spark your interest in that. But that's what I see.
But you know, no, thanks for that. But I see that in other people, not just me.
Right.
I see that in you. I see that in other people. I think we all are capable. I think we all are capable. We all have it. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, recognizing it, knowing it, and you know, wanting to do something about it in an unselfish way.
Right.
And also wanting to do something about it, you know, in a way where you feel obligated to do. I think we all should feel that way. We all should feel obligated, to do our part, so to speak. And if that's, paying it forward, or pulling somebody up, or helping somebody else, or lending a helping hand, I think we're all supposed to do that.
Right.
I think that's part of the problem, is that we don't do enough of that. I think people, they get caught up in their own, self, or selfish.
True.
Selfish, absorbed, and it's just about them, and they forget about other people, and forget about those who came before them that helped them get to that position where they can do what they're doing. Because we didn't get here alone. Somebody made a sacrifice. Somebody died. Somebody protested. Somebody marched. It's like, whether you whether you don't want to agree with what's going on right now in this country in terms of this uprising, you didn't participate in the protest, fine. If you didn't, okay, but do something. Do something. Do something, man. It's like, that's all I'm saying. It's just do something. We don't do. It's just not enough. If you're raising your kids, I'll give you props for that. If you're raising your kids the right way,
I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a little story.
Okay.
Not long ago, when we used to all go to the All-Star game, LA, all the cities, and because I had a lot of connections that I built with when I go to LA, I knew I could get in all the clubs because of Fetteroff.
Mm-hmm.
People couldn't understand. I would bring a handful of my friends from New York, 10 guys. We'd be in the hotels, we get the hotel, we have a great time. But I would be the leader because I had the connections. And my connections was people like Fetteroff. Fetteroff, we go into this. Fetteroff always came through with it. Fed asked me for something. But when you holding that crown, those times, all those times that I went to those All-Star games, I started to realize, I don't know if Fed did, but we was always the ones amongst our friends that had the juice. But having the juice is always not great, because when I was going to those places, I was so busy trying to make everybody else happy. Getting in the clubs and doing all the things, getting all the connections and everything, and I didn't have a good time. It was work. And it was good that they was happy and everything, but it was, when you wear that crown, it's heavy on the head, like you said.
Right, that part.
You gotta, you wear, you have a great responsibility, and if you want, because you took on everything ain't as good as you think it's going to be.
Right.
And wearing that crown, it's just, sometimes, you got to sacrifice. Yes. And I sacrificed my good time to make others happy. And that's why I owe a lot to the people that made me, it wasn't even about making me look good. It was about making other people happy. Right. But at the same time, the good thing about that, people like Fetteroff and all my connections who allowed me to do things that others couldn't do, that, I thank them. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because I was walking 10 people in places in other cities. Right. You with me, you're getting in the club. Right. You with me, we're getting in the game. You with me, we doing this.
I know.
And it was happening. And it was about brothers like him, and about wearing that crown. But I'm not big on wearing the crown no more. I'm big on that, trying to do things for me, trying to do things to make things happen, and trying to get further and be a lot smarter. You know what I mean? It's and responsibility. In a lot of ways, I show a lot of selfishness nowadays, and I want y'all to know on this panel, because y'all are special to me, that if I show you selfishness, it's not because I don't love you or not the same guy. It's because I found a different way how to do things. You don't always I got to give to myself more than I give to others now.
Yes.
I always gave to the people. I always gave to the people I love, which is you guys. Always gave it to you. But now I want to give me something.
Yeah.
And it don't mean I don't love you. And it don't mean that I'm not there for you. It just means I'm on a different course right now. Please bear with me. It'll get better. Just let me get to where I'm trying to get to. When I get there, you can best believe y'all gonna be a part of it.
Oh, bless you.
You know what I mean?
I hear you, Big Tapper. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Laura G.
Fetteroff, I just have to say this. It's just burning in my brain. Is that I want to say to you is that you make it look easy, right? When you talk about your love for community, what we need to do, the word, it's like an oxymoron to me, heavy as the crown. It seems that you wear this crown very easily, that it's very innate for you in terms of your passion to give. So I want to applaud you for that. But I do have a question for you. And it was a couple weeks ago, we had some comment on the show that talked about the Black community and its inability to really connect itself and to uplift members in that community to move forward. I was struck by your comment, and it's one that I always say, each one has to teach one, right? And we don't make it until we bring someone along. How do you feel about that? Do you see the Black community as a cooperatively working place? Or do you see that there is a great deal of division within that community?
No. Absolutely. And first of all, let me say comment, Tap, I hear you, brother. Tap, you give naturally. You do that because it's natural and easy for you to do that.
Right.
You know, that's why you take care of people like that. That's in your nature, brother. That's just who you are. Don't stop being that. Right. So to your question, yes, I do wear this crown. I don't even notice it. It's not a struggle for me. I don't feel any pressure or anything like that because it's it's who I am. It's like I wake up, wanting to do the right things because and that comes from where I grew up at. I grew up at a time where there were my community was thriving with Black businesses. There was a Black pharmacist, 2 of them. Black pharmacists. They own their own pharmacies. We had Black movie theaters that we could walk to. We had plenty of Black stores, Black restaurants where you could take your family to on Market Street. Right. So I saw, Black businesses, Black operated businesses. I saw Black men, running supermarkets, their own supermarkets, a multitude of them throughout our neighborhood and communities. People from down south, because think about it, and this still happens down south. Down south, you'll see Black people, in places of business and ownership and working and doing things that you don't see up north or you don't see out west, but you do see it down south still. These types of proprietors or, Black people that own these establishments, but where I grew up at, I saw it. So that's why I know and I believe, to answer your question, Lori, yes, I do think that, we are capable of thriving and working together and, in a harmonious community, where the dollar is recycled. I saw it happen. But crack came along in the 80s. Yes. Well, before crack, let's just say heroin. Let's say heroin, after the Vietnam War. Yes. Late 60s, early 70s, you had heroin and dope. Nicky Bourne. Yeah. Those guys, dudes from New York, American Gangster. I know guys that was dying from those drugs. My cousin, I had a cousin, he was a junkie. He used to shoot drugs. I knew him, he's my cousin. I knew his friends. And his friends started dying. And I was like devastated by it. I was like, what happened to Mr. Tony? Well, Mr. Tony OD'd. What? I'm 10 or 11. So these guys were dying. So that was from heroin and cocaine. Yeah. That's the 70s. In the 80s, crack. We all know what crack did. Yes. So crack destroyed our communities and our generations. 20 years of that. From the 80s to the 90s, 2000s to now. You got these other drugs. But I saw our black communities thriving, and I know it's possible and it's capable, and and I hope to be a part of it and see it and do anything I can do, to help black businesses. I think I answered your question to that.
What did you think about mass incarceration, Fed? What is your opinion on mass incarceration?
Oh my God. That's some serious shit right there.
Yes.
Now, I sent you a poem. I don't know, maybe Jerry sent you a poem called Institutionalize Our Fathers.
You got that?
Did you guys get that poem?
Let me see. The ones I have, I'm going to let you know. I have 40 dead, 40 die. I wasn't supposed to make it. Breaking news. And then I have They Say. Would you like us to read any of those?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But mass incarceration, I have a poem called.
Go ahead, tell me the name.
Yeah.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
It's called Institutionalize Our Fathers. That's the poem.
Okay, did you send it to me, Fed?
No, I thought Tap sent you that video.
It's on my website. Rashid.
Can you resend, since we're on that topic right now, before we head into what you feel about that topic, do you have that poem memorized?
Yeah.
I mean, we can look at
it.
Let's do it.
Wait, he has.
Do it.
Fed,
you want to hear it?
For sure.
Yeah. Coming across. Right now.
You want to have Rashid?
This show right now is coming across so focused, so on point. I want you to continue, and by you stepping it up and saying your poetry, and then Jack, it's going to crush it. Right now, you're killing it right now.
Let's do it.
I'll share that poem with you if you want to hear it.
We do.
This is my answer to mass incarceration.
Okay.
And I'll share the poem if you want to hear it.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay, it's called Institutionalize Our Fathers. It goes like this. Pain is what I've been left to sustain every day, just trying to maintain, trying to cope, too strong to fall weak, to dope. Oh God, what these eyes have seen, growing up, never able to own a part of this machine, Team USA. This system keeps our people broken like a slave ship to sink, choking with a noose around our necks. Injustice is what I call constant struggle, even with each other, each and every day, throwing our lives away. And what about you, I say? And what about you? Can you hear me? Our freedom is just an illusion while you hold me back with a device that can track me down like an animal with a number. Is that freedom? What a false perception. Just let my people go. Institutionalize our fathers you have, leaving our children left alone, only to roam the streets, that is, with no guides, foolish pride. No, self-esteem doesn't mean a thing when a bleeding heart is only crying out for attention, which leads to anger. And then you call that militant. Problems of the world today, late nights, nowhere in sight. Looking for our kids, they're not in bed. Street life hustle, a fist fight, and then a tussle, leading to bloodshed, and then another, dead. Why? Genocide. While a mother is now left alone to grieve at home after losing a loved one, must we again? Who is left holding the smoking gun that you sold to a buyer? After all is said and done, shot another one of mine, then justified by your guidelines and laws, what you call it? The rules change when the judge calls my name, because this life surely is not a game, because there's no easy way out. Scream and shout. What is this all about? Racism? I'd rather bottle it up and throw it all away. But some of us teach it to our children and then wonder why this world is such a crazy place to live in. That's what I think about this, the prison system. That's my answer.
Amen. That's beautiful. gotta get two hands connected on this.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Thank you, Fed. Whoa.
Wow.
Mass
But that
incarceration.
is
The answer.
powerful. My goodness.
On a whole nother level.
Wow.
I like
Deep.
to, because there was some keywords.
Yeah, our Zoom room is going
I
crazy.
know, right?
And
Like big
that
snap,
poem,
big
that
snap.
poem might be, if I'm not mistaken, that poem might be 12 years old. Fed, am I correct?
Now that poem was written in 1997 after a kid from Press On Youth named Pete. Pete got killed, got shot 5 times.
Wow.
I knew Pete when he was a baby.
Wow.
He was 19 years old when he got shot. Right on 60th and Arch Street in Philadelphia with his little brother. His little brother Camille. I think his name is Khalid Camille Woodson. Artie Woodson's son. And Pete and Wiggs, you know their family. They live on Redfield Street. Pete got shot 5 times, and Pete was like in my program in Press On Youth. And it ripped me apart. I was shooting a movie at the time. I was shooting the movie called Metro in San Francisco. We were shooting that movie in 1997, and I got the call that Pete got killed. So I left San Francisco, flew to Philly, went to the funeral at Hawkins Funeral Home on 54th and Haddonford Avenue. And I said, I can't go to no more funerals. And since then, I had so many kids from our program get killed or kill somebody. These are kids I know. A kid named Randolph from our program got killed, who I knew. One of my favorite kids. I got video of him. I'll show this to you one day. Named Eddie Eubanks. Eddie got shot. They took him to Fairmount Park and killed him.
Wow.
And Eddie was a really, really, really smart, good kid. He was bad in the streets, but I knew him. He was a good kid.
Good kid.
You know.
Yeah.
Eddie got killed maybe like 8 years ago.
Oh no.
He was in Press On Youth. Eddie Eubanks got shot in the head. His friends killed him. And I just said, I can't go to no more funerals. Can't go to no more funerals, man.
Jeez.
So that's where that poem came from. That poem came from when Pete got killed in 1997.
Wow.
But I performed it a couple times. It's on YouTube. You want to see it? It's on YouTube right now. But I got a lot of poems like that. And I'm not happy about that.
Right.
That poem is powerful, brother.
Very powerful.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Fed. So, Fed, that inspires me, and I know
I got love poems too, you know.
Oh, okay. Yay. Fed, can I share a piece of poetry with you?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this would...
Absolutely.
All right.
I love poetry.
Okay. Yay. But in connection with what you just spoke about, you're a wonderful, wonderful piece. And mass incarceration. So, Fed, we didn't go too much in depth about my passions and kind of what I do, but obviously social justice, poetry of justice show, but I have a passion for prison and mass incarceration. My sister and I, we had the Phillips Foundation, and what we also worked for a different nonprofit organization, one called California Rehabilitation and Employment Program, Fed, and I was the chief executive officer for this organization. And what we would do, we were funded by the state of California through the California Departments of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and we would go into the prison systems about 3 to 6 months prior to parole release date to prepare the reunification plan and making sure there's a housing scenario so we don't go back into homelessness and recidivism, so on and so forth. I've worked for the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority in Skid Row for the homeless services on the front line. Did that every day for about 2.5 years until a gentleman took a very inappropriate liking for me, and it became my survival. So I had to exodus myself from right there on the front line, Skid Row, downtown LA. It was a journey.
I know San Pedro.
Absolutely. So you already know.
San Pedro Street. I know that street.
And then I worked for
I've been
Midnight
down
Mission
there
for a while. I used to work at the Midnight Mission, right? So I'm down there, right, doing this some crazy
Oh my
stuff.
God.
But I have this piece called For Life. And so my work and all those things that I've been blessed to do to keep that anchor of humility, if you will. And so I'd like to share this with you and to everyone who's with us tonight.
Sure.
Tucked and away in a tiny cell, tucked away in a place compared to hell, the dark, desolate, and distant truth, been locked away since they were a youth, with over 15,000 days served on that bid, life sentences being passed out while the bodies are being hid. A concrete slave ship is what it should be called. So many of our people have taken this ride because when you walk on the yard, you could easily be mauled. You see, running the streets in the 80s, they didn't know it was the nigger trap. But looking into that stainless steel mirror, watching oneself age, wondering when in the hell will I get out of this cage. You see, it takes a superhuman mind to roll and not break. But how much more are these individuals supposed to take? And those CDC blues is all they get to wear, looking into the visiting room and no one is there. Most of these people just need someone to care, because when you're walking out of that visiting room, the heart of men's out it can tear. You know, the vending machines, playing the games, that light banter. Yes, oh my goodness. Those little simple things matter. Time and dedication is the only way to roll behind those walls. Never again shall our people be the forgotten souls. What? The poet just reigns.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You like that?
That is a powerful piece. That is a fucking powerful piece.
Thank you.
That is some powerful piece right there. My God.
Thank you. Thank you.
My God.
I'm
That
glad
is
you like
powerful.
it. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Fed, I was blessed.
That is some serious.
Right.
Can you cuss on this show?
Yes, you can. It's Yachts Radio.
Yeah, that's some powerful shit right there. That's some powerful shit right there.
Okay.
My God.
That makes me feel legit.
What are you doing with that? What are you doing with that? What do you do with it?
It's just been tucked away in that tiny cell I just talked about in the piece, right?
Oh, I know.
It's
Listen,
just been tucked away.
I can show you right now a bunch of letters. I know so many people in prison, right?
Yeah.
One time I went to prison, and I had to walk through a yard to get to where I was going, and there are windows on both sides. So and Jerry, you know these people. We know these people. I walked through that yard, and all I heard was, "Yo, Fed, yo, Fed, yo, Fed." I'm like, what the? I'm like, this is where everybody is at.
Oh God.
Behind those walls
Lord,
you're
right,
talking about.
right.
In themselves.
It's the
That's where I have
truth.
people
It's
at.
when we grew up.
And
It's our
no
era.
place
It's what
to-
happened to our people, Fed. It's just what happened to our people. You feel me? We made it out.
Concrete slave ship.
That's it.
Concrete slave ship.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Yeah,
some
because you
serious
kind
shit
of talked
right
a
there.
little bit about it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you got another.
Do you know the story? Do you know the story of Wallow 267? You know who he is?
I don't, but I want you to put me on game.
Yep. Follow Wallow 267. He's on Instagram.
Okay.
Wallow. WALLO 267.
Okay.
267. Okay.
Jackie, you have to get that poem to Wallow.
Whoa. Okay.
You got to get that poem to Wallow 267.
Okay. See?
He has 7 million followers on Instagram.
Okay. Wow.
He did 20 years in prison.
Okay. Okay.
For some bullshit. Now he's out. Well, now he's out. You got to hear his story. You guys got to connect with this kid.
Okay. Okay.
And you got to get that poem to him.
Okay.
And I would love to help him with that poem to get it to wherever. That poem, amazing.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much.
So we got to talk after this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Amen.
Thumbs
Amen.
up. Snaps up.
But you know what? I got more questions. I got some more questions. I got some questions for you. And these are from, I don't know. You let me know. But I know the questions that you sent over to us. And I want to be able to bless everybody with what you sent us. And because they intrigued me, particularly during our pre-show interview. So forgive me for looking downward. But I just want to take a look at this. But I want to know what was it like. And I want to lighten it up a bit because I want to take it there to theater because we can get back into some more poetry, some other pieces. But working on Broadway as a costumer.
Broadway.
My
That wasn't
sister
fun.
loves the theater. So please let us know what that was like for you.
I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
You didn't love it?
Oh, no.
No.
He's like, no,
I thought I
no,
would.
no.
But this is what in my experience working on Broadway and working on theater shows in Brooklyn at BAM, Brooklyn Museum of Brooklyn Academy of Music. What was it? As a Black person working on Broadway, for me, it was very, very uncomfortable, traumatizing. From some of the behavior, the way they treat you, white people I'm talking about, how they look at you. You're perceived as being a thief, you know, as a Black man. You know, maybe you stole something before you're leaving.
Wow. Okay.
You know, what's in your pockets, that kind of shit. They're never wrong. Don't you correct them if they're wrong. Don't you correct them. You can never be right. Wait, my call time was 10 a.m. You know, but you said it was 9 a.m. and I came in at 10, and you're saying I'm late, but I'm not late because my call time says 10. It's here. It's written right here. But the white people will say no, it's 9. Well, why didn't you tell me that? And it's not written. You know, I'm going by what's written. So if you're right, you're wrong. That's what I experienced working on Broadway.
Wow.
You know, and you come in at the bottom. You know, I came in at the bottom. I'm as a dresser, I'm equally capable of doing whatever I do. They don't even know Broadway. They don't even know my background on films and who I work for.
Right.
They don't know that. I don't.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So those white people, especially the white women too, they treated me like shit working in Broadway. They blame you for shit. You know, some of them don't like you because in New York, right? Jerry knows this. New York, everybody lives so closely, so you got to get on the train to go to a lot of places. So you see all kind of crazy shit on the train. So you got a white girl who live in Manhattan, right? Who got to go to Brooklyn. She got to get on the train to go to Brooklyn. So by the time she get on the train and get to her stop, God knows what the fuck she had to deal with Black people on her journey.
Right.
So when she gets to work, she taking that shit out on you.
No bueno.
So it's like that in New York. Even if you don't get on the train, even if you walk across town or you got to go somewhere where you got to deal with Black people or poor people or Spanish people, and you're the boss or you're working, you're white, they're gonna take that shit out on you. That's my experience working on Broadway. So fuck Broadway.
Yeah, you killed me with that one right now.
I mean that shit. I'm sorry. I mean it.
Sorry.
I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized by some of the shit that happened to me at work. And I could have sued those
That's
motherfuckers.
horrible. Oh my God.
That is terrible.
Oh, Lord, have you seen anything? Oh my God, it don't even matter. That's crazy.
In the workplace.
Crazy. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I mean, I think that's a big part of that. Have you read that document, We See You, White American Theater?
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's all about the white racist procedures and policies of theaters on Broadway and across the country. as to how they have been systematically racist and institutionally racist. And people of color aren't standing for it anymore.
You know what, but I'm saying, fuck Broadway. It's like, do our own shit.
Right.
Do our own plays in our own neighborhood. Fuck Broadway. Go to Compton and do your shit. Go to Harlem. Go to black communities in our neighborhood. Set up our theaters and do our own shit. Fuck them. I don't want nothing from them.
Right.
Even where I live at right now, where I live in my unit, these motherfuckers accuse me of shit and do dirty shit and send me emails about my fucking car from out of town. You know,
Are you in New York?
His stickers expired on his car.
You're still in New York, right?
You're in New York?
I'm in New York, but I'm saying where I live. I live in upstate. I live in a condominium complex with white people. You know, and they some motherfuckers. And I'm talking about y'all know who y'all are.
You know who you are.
YesRadio.com. Fed says you know who you are, bastard.
But I have a question. So you've done so much with Hollywood and with movies, and have worked with incredible directors. And I know you did costuming for a lot of Eddie Murphy's shows and movie stuff. Was it that same level of racism in film as you felt on Broadway?
Different. It's different.
It's different.
I'll tell you why it's different. The difference between Hollywood and the Broadway racism is that Hollywood, they're accustomed to smiling and lying and being fake in your face. But you make more money, you know. So in Hollywood, I'm making more money and everybody in Hollywood, you have to be in a union, right? Everybody's in a union, so everybody's making big fucking money. So those white motherfuckers, they make too much money to be concerned about being fucking too racist to you or acting a certain way to you. They just don't fucking deal with you. Period.
Got it.
They just avoid you. They don't have to fuck with you. They can just avoid you, not see you, go another way or whatever, or you don't see them. You know, you're not that close in that close proximity like in Broadway. So it's different kind of racism. But it's there though. Don't get me wrong. You know. But I work with a lot of great directors, and I work with Eddie Murphy. Eddie got me in the business. Eddie is my man. I love you, Eddie. Eddie Murphy. I could talk about Eddie Murphy all day long. How brilliant, how great, how loyal this brother's been to me. All the stuff he's taught me about how to survive. You know, in Hollywood. You know, even talking like I'm talking right now, Eddie would be like, "Hey man, don't talk you. Don't do that." You know, but I learned so much about how to navigate and survive through Hollywood and deal in Hollywood with Eddie. You know, I've been in a lot of meetings with Eddie, and Eddie's taught me everything I know about Hollywood. Eddie's taught me good and bad, the good shit. But he's taught me willingly, you know, to teach me the business, you know, and what to do and what to say and how to conduct yourself and bring you with him. And one thing about Eddie Murphy is that there was a time, you know, when he was really, really famous, and as famous as he was, he shared that fame with everybody that was with him. So we stayed in the same hotels he stayed in. We ate the same food he ate. We went to the same shows and theaters he went to. We went to the meetings at the studios at Paramount. Most of the meetings that Eddie was in with the executives, I was in them because he took me in them.
I saw that.
But he took all of us in, his boys that was with him. And then we would sit down and eat. We all lived in the same house, and he would just talk and share the whole business thing with you.
Wow.
You know? So Eddie is an amazing, amazing artist that we have. You know, I could talk about him all day, but the racism in Hollywood, it's there, but it's sort of camouflaged because people are making so much money. You know? But it's there. But Broadway is different, you know. I mean, like I said, you're in a small area. And people, you know, you gotta be in 5 people in one room, you know, and it's like you feel it. The energy is there, you know, and they're watching you and looking at you and shit. You know, and in Broadway, those actors are different. They're a lot of divas, a lot of prima donnas, the actors, especially the white actors, the white women. Oh my God, the white women, they're divas, prima donnas, and they're on a pedestal. And you know, if you do, you know, I did a lot of like American ballet shit, the opera shit and ballet, all the ballerinas and shit like that. They treat those girls like fucking goddesses and angels and shit.
Wow.
You know, you know, it's crazy. I can tell you shit that happened it's traumatizing.
Whoa.
That they blame the black people.
That's terrible.
Crazy. Wow.
Crazy shit, man.
Fetteroff, I just
Crazy
have
shit.
to ask you, I'm so curious, how did you meet Eddie Murphy? Where did that friendship begin?
Eddie and I's friendship began in Philadelphia. I used to work at a place called Baines Cafeteria on Broad Street when I was like 18 years old. My grandmother used to work at my father's mother, Sophie. She used to work at a parking garage. And she got me a job at Baines Cafeteria working downtown. And I also went to school downtown. I went to Bach, as I said, Bach Tech Vocational School, which was in South Philly. And then I got the job at Baines. And right across the street from Baines was a hotel called the Bellevue Stratford on Broad Street, downtown Philadelphia. It's a really, really nice hotel. The Bellevue Stratford. You know, all the sports teams stay there. The who's the who people that come to Philadelphia, they stay at that hotel. And the crew stayed at that hotel. And I didn't even know it, but that's where the crew for Trading Places was staying at that hotel. And I worked right across the street at the cafeteria. So my job, we were the caterers to the movie production. So we would feed the movie production. And that's how I met Eddie. Through from him coming into the cafeteria to get food. And I was one of the black people. They let me work the calendar. So I would make the food and serve the food. And that's how I met Eddie Murphy and Clint Smith and the director.
Wow.
And that's how it all started. That's how it all started, man. That's how it all started. And then I started going to New York, because I know about New York from high school.
Right.
And New York was only 2 hours away. So I would get on the bus on weekends. I would leave the people I was hanging out with in West Philly, go downtown, get on the bus, Greyhound, Trailways, and go to New York on Saturday mornings and go to Saturday Night Live to see the show. Wow. And Eddie would leave me tickets, but Clint Smith, his friend, would leave me tickets, and that's how I started, hanging out with Eddie. I would go to New York on Saturdays, go to Saturday Night Live, and go back home on the bus to Philly. And I was like, I gotta move to New York. This is before I moved to New York.
Wow.
So Fed,
before Cap and I moved to New York.
So let me ask
That's how I met Eddie.
That's how, now I get it.
Tap was with me.
Yeah.
Tap was with me. Tap was with me when I got the job with Eddie, because Eddie hosted Saturday Night Live. He was the host, and I had already moved to New York, and me and Tap was living in New York. We were living in that room on 94th Street, that little room, and February of 1984 or whatever, I think Marvin Gaye had got killed sometime around there, maybe 84, something like that. But anyway, Eddie had told me a long time ago, when I first met Eddie in Philly, he's like, hey man, I'll hire you when I can, because he had just did 48 hours, and then he was doing. He had told me, Eddie said, if I ever get the opportunity, I'll hire you. So time passed. I would see Eddie, go up to New York, see him and all that stuff. And we were at the Hard Rock. I was working at the Hard Rock Cafe, me and Tap. And Eddie hosted the show. And I was working on the second floor as a busboy. My station was right by the stairs. You know the stairs, Tap? When you walk up to the second floor of the Hard Rock Cafe? And I was there working in my station. It was we were working the party for Saturday Night Live, the show that Eddie hosted. So standing at my station, it's about 11, 12 at night in New York. Somebody comes and taps me on my shoulder. I turn around, it was Eddie. And Eddie had on this glitter. He had on a suit jacket. It was glitter. It was a black suit jacket with like silver and gold glitter. That's what he had on. It had like an Elvis Presley collar. And he said, "Yo, man, I'm going on tour, and I want you to come. I want you to come with me." And he gave me the phone number to his office. And he said, call my office, and they're gonna make the arrangements for you to get your ticket and start working for me. That's how I got the job.
Wow.
Eddie hired me himself.
You want to hear something more? Remember when I told you, Fed, is this true? Eddie, you was already working at Baines. That's how you told me that day in your room. Tap, I'm gonna get a job with this because I never could fathom why you would tell me that when we was watching them on a video. It was an 8-track video we was watching Delirious on, and you said, Tap, I'm gonna work with this guy one day. So that means Eddie had already told you when you was working at Bain stuff, right?
Right. He already told me.
He did.
Yep. I have a picture of me and Eddie when I met him. I have the picture of it. You know.
Wow.
So yeah, he told me that, and he kept his word. That's the kind of guy he is.
Right.
I still work with Eddie. We just did Coming to America, you know, a few months ago in Atlanta for 5 months. We just did Dolomite for Netflix, you know, last year.
Wow.
You know, so I've been working for Eddie for over 30 years. You know.
Wow.
And Eddie treats me like family, man. He really he sends my mother Christmas cards every year, man. He's an amazing. It's so much about Eddie Murphy that people don't even know. I'm talking about the mind of this guy. The mind of Eddie Murphy is phenomenal. He's super intelligent. Super intelligent.
Lori and Jackie,
he's a deep dude, man.
The reason why I am in New York is because of this guy.
Oh, wow.
And the mind of this guy, forget Eddie, the mind of him, Fetteroff, is amazing too, because he tells me, he got me the job at the Hard Rock. He got the job at the Hard Rock. But I was there that night when Eddie gave him the job.
Oh my God.
And I was like so happy for him because I'm bugging like this nigga, this brother told me that he was going to get a job.
Work for him.
Right.
And then he had got me, and y'all don't know, when me and Fed was at the Hard Rock Cafe, look, it was New York was the crazy. When I came up here the first time, my mom called me, is everything all right? You and Fed all right? She said, where are you? I said, on Broadway.
That part.
Listen, it was amazing. I knew from the first weekend, me and Fed, we had the budget. So we was eating pizza from Silent Carmine. We was eating pizza. I'll never forget this. Budgeting for dinner. We would eat 2 slices of pizza and hot dog. Because Dad was holding me down. He said, Jerry, I don't got that much money. But they got these great hot dogs with onions in New York and these hot dog vendors. And he'll throw me a knish or something, and because I ain't had no money, I was working at Super Fresh Supermarket, but he held me down the best way he can.
That's right. Got
me a job at the Hard Rock there. And look, after 3 months, our friend Brandon Steiner, who I invited for the show, I hope he's watching it right now. But Brandon, he is now a multi-millionaire, so successful. He's Fed's friend more than mine, but he hired me in the dish room. After 3 weeks in the dish room, he knew I had to be out on the floor with Fed there. So I became a busboy. And a busboy was making $200-300 a night.
A night. Yep. A night. I was getting $300 a night.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
Get the money.
Yeah.
So what did I do?
And fun.
Right after Fed.
A lot of fun.
Fed got the job. I think a week after Fed got that job, I was like, bring your behind up here. My brother Craig, he came up. I had to get him that job. And you know what? They made my brother Craig. He was a busboy and I was a barback. They made my brother Craig a waiter before they made me a bartender. I was that's my younger brother. I'm gonna have my younger. I got him the job, but I was a little salty about that. But that tells you a lot about my brother Craig. But look, we come a long way, Fed. And now that I'm talking about this, I'm psyched. This show got me psyched, man. You know what I mean? This show got me psyched because he brought me back. And, I haven't thought about all this in a long time. And the love and support and everything about it, our life was amazing, man. It was amazing.
Yeah, we met Andy Warhol.
Huh? What do you say?
I said we met Andy Warhol. Remember Andy Warhol used to come into the Hard Rock?
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Andy Warhol.
That's
Basquiat.
awesome.
So, Fetteroff,
Basquiat.
we've got some questions here in our Zoom room.
Woohoo.
Our Zoom room listeners have Sia. I hope I say her name right. S-I-A. I think it's Sia.
Hello,
How do you
Sia.
feel about Tyler Perry's plays?
His plays?
How do you feel about Tyler Perry's plays?
I feel great about his plays because he owns this. He wrote them. He directed them. He hired black actors. He got them up and running. He got them financed. I feel incredible about his independence.
Right.
His independence. I love Tyler Perry. I just worked at his studio in Atlanta for 4 months. It was amazing.
Really?
I love what he's doing. He can wear the dress all he wants. If he's gonna build studios, dress.
Right.
Fine with me.
That's it.
Great. We
Celebrate
have
Tyler Perry.
Celebrate. That's true. Definitely. Another one of our listeners, Chris, says, Press On is an awesome name. I automatically thought about the word of God. Philippians 3:14. Press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. That this is a good segue to talk about the word with the youth.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And
Amen.
everybody says your poetry is on fire.
Yes, you are.
Fire. Fetteroff.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Cool.
So is Jackie.
Aw.
Jackie.
Thank you. So it's about you tonight, Fed. It's all about you.
About
though,
us.
so. Okay.
About us. Never about me. It's about us.
Hey,
I have a question now. This is a selfish question. So I was reading your bio and doing my research on you, and I saw that you served as an assistant to the director on one of my most favorite movies ever, Harlem Nights.
yes.
How is it working on that
Who
film?
directed Harlem Nights?
Uh-oh.
I don't know. It says that you were assisting the director. Were you the director?
But you said your favorite director.
No, my favorite film.
Sorry?
Favorite film.
Harlem Nights is my favorite film.
Oh, okay. No, Eddie.
But I don't know who the director was.
Eddie directed that movie.
Ooh.
Ah, okay.
Eddie Murphy.
All right.
And so how did you
27
feel-
years old.
27 years old, and he directed it?
That's right. That's
He
right.
was 27 years old when he wrote and directed that movie. It was for Paramount Studios, and Paramount did not want him to do that movie. And he had to fight with them to do that movie.
Really?
They didn't want him to do that movie.
You know what's crazy?
Because it showed black people being smart, and it showed black people being heroic, and they did not want that.
And outthinking
And he
is the
fought
man.
with them to get that movie made.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot
I bet
of
it
work
was.
and a lot of fun.
Was that the first time your name appeared in lights on Harlem Nights?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Is that in the
Do you
Bible,
remember?
Lori?
Say it again.
Look,
I said, was that stated in the bio someplace, Lori?
It just says that it was one of the first films for Fetteroff was Harlem Nights.
I sent you pictures of me working on that film in the production office with me and Eddie.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
Black and white pictures of that.
Right.
That's awesome.
How you doing, sound man? Rashad? Rashad, you okay?
You got it, Lori. Rashad. Oh, in the studio.
Just
huh?
checking. Just
Hey,
checking,
Fed,
Rashad.
You know what, Fed? Out of all the movies I saw, you know, because Fed made a cameo. Fed even put me in one of Eddie's movies. I was in another 48 Hours.
Yes.
I didn't tell you guys that, but I'm in one of. But out of all the movies Fed was in or he done, because he invited me up to LA about 3 different times. I stayed at Eddie's house a couple times, and it was incredible. But Fed, I knew he was in, and I knew he he was the man more than I even thought he was when in Coming to America, one of my favorite movies, Fed was right up in the chair, the director's chair, one of the most famous directors in the world, John Landis. My boy was in his chair with him, and John Landis was telling him, I said, are you directing this freaking movie, dog? John Landis asked Fed like he was the director, and Fed was telling the actors to do. And I'm walking around here like my shit don't think. Like, I can tell somebody what to do, because this is my motherfucker, man. And he's running the show here. You know what I mean? We was out there in the desert in California, and my boy was running the show out there with John Landis. I mean, it wasn't even about Eddie no more.
It was about
It was about my man Fetteroff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was Coming to America.
Yeah, Coming
to America. Yeah.
Working on groundbreaking
That's
one of my favorite ones. Me personally, I like Boomerang too. Boomerang and Coming to America.
Yeah, I worked with John Landis on Coming to America. Eddie got me the job. Eddie Murphy made me his assistant. Okay. So I worked on Coming to America, and we shot it in New York, Brooklyn, New York, Manhattan, New York, and Los Angeles. But I worked from casting, pre-production, through the whole filming, production, and the post. For like a year, I was with John Landis for a year, who also is an amazing, interesting person and a great director. And it's a really, really interesting, unique individual, John Landis. An amazing person he is. A lot of people don't like him, but I like him because I got a chance to really kind of like to know him and get to a place where I understand who he is. So, and I think when you get to a place where you understand a person, you're able to, do exactly that. Understand who they are, whether it's, for the good and the bad, the better and the worse, and the whole dynamics of a person. When you get to that point where you understand him, so I accept him for who he is because I got to that point.
Right. And I also read, Fetteroff, that you worked with the director Wes Craven.
Yes, another amazing director.
Wes Craven.
Yes.
Wow.
What did you work with Wes Craven on?
Really, yes. A movie called Vampire in Brooklyn. We did it in
another favorite.
That's my top man.
San Pedro, California.
San Pedro?
Yeah, San Pedro, California. Yeah.
Lori and I were born in San Pedro, California. That's where we were born, Fed. Lori and I were born in San Pedro Memorial Hospital.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's one of my old hangouts.
Froggies. Don't tell me you went to Froggies. Please, the Lord. Do you think Fed went to Froggies, Lori?
Did you go to a club called Froggies in San Pedro?
No, I didn't. No, I was afraid. I hang out in San Pedro with my Mexican friends, and they're all in the gangs.
Okay.
So I gotta be careful out there,
You do.
But I like San Pedro.
Well, let me just tell you a tidbit about Froggies in San Pedro. You can get a 20-ounce glass of Hennessy for $3.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
Yeah, you don't have to drive nowhere.
So I don't think I have to say anything else. That's enough said, right?
That's
go to
cool.
Froggies, get a $23 thing of Hennessy and go to the beach.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right
That's
to the beach.
insane, sissy. I can't believe you. But yeah. Good time.
Yeah, but Wes Craven, he was a great director. Wes Craven was a great director. Really, really good director. He would actually give people, everybody got a shot list. When you show up to work in the morning, he would give you a shot list of what the whole day's work is going to be like.
Okay.
So he's an amazing director, Wes Craven.
That is so cool. Man, this is great. You just doing what you do, huh? What were we going to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lori. I'm sorry.
I just was going to say, I know that you talked a lot about Eddie Murphy, and you say you learned so much from him as a mentor. I'm just wondering, what would you say is the most valuable lesson you learned from Eddie Murphy?
Ooh, that's a great question. Great question. Great question. One of the most valuable lessons I learned from Eddie is, I think is, it's I don't know, it has to be two things. One has to be loyalty and conduct, how to conduct yourself. Those are two good lessons I learned from Eddie.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe three. Family.
Okay.
The love of family. But how to conduct yourself, loyalty, and family. Those are three of his greatest assets, his traits, you know. Because you got to think about Hollywood. Hollywood is a vicious place, man. And Eddie, the powerful, successful black man, and they're constantly coming for his head. Constantly.
Wow.
Really?
Because it's like, first of all, it's like, who is this nigga?
Right.
And how is he doing what he's doing? And on it for so long, and what is it about him? And
how is he doing?
Let me get a peek, and you know, how can we stop him? Oh, he's arrogant. He's an uppity nigga. Who does he think he is? Like all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He has to deal with as by himself, without his.
Oh my gosh! Please don't tell me he froze on us.
Did we lose you, Fetteroff?
Are you there, Lori? What about Gerald?
Gerald, are you there?
I'm here.
I think we lost audio, guys. I don't know. And that was such an amazing story. Go ahead, Gerald. Sorry.
It must have been. Fed must not be in a. He must not be in a good
reception area, huh?
Yeah, reception area.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm sure he'll come back. I was just going to ask, you know, about that, about family and Charlie's death, you know.
Yeah. I was going to tell you, yeah, Charlie and Vernon, his other brother Vernon, those are good people too.
Yeah.
Fed introduced me to two of my best friends now. I'm going to get deep on them real quick.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell them something. I'm gonna get deep on. Let me talk to him when I don't eat on camera. Oh, he telling me don't eat on camera.
What say?
Well, where's he at?
He's probably coming back through.
Probably coming back. Yeah. I don't see it. Well, Chris from our Zoom room says, wow, that is great that Fetteroff has been blessed to have worked with famous people. But more is that you get to see what you don't see. The media loves to put the black man down.
That's so true.
Yeah.
What was it like for you, Gerald, when you were being on the sets? What was it like for you to be on set with Eddie Murphy?
No. Oh, I wasn't used to it. You know, it was like I was with one of my best friends, and you know, I was at places where no one else in the world. And remember when Fed was working with Eddie, and he was inviting me to Eddie's house and to hang and be with them. Eddie was the biggest thing in Hollywood. He had a studio in Paramount. Up in he owned.
I know, right, Sissy? It's just
Eddie didn't have a studio. He had an office on the studio lot. Tyler Perry has a studio.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about back then when we was back then in the early 90s, when we was in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie was the biggest thing. In 1989, Eddie Murphy Studios, Paramount Studios, where he owned a piece of that. listen, man, it was nothing no bigger. And we was right there with him. I said, that was like amazing. You know, I grew to like, and the whole thing about it was, you know, I grew to like his brother Charlie. His brother Vernon loved me. I did business with Vernon. I did music. That's when I first started music. And Vernon loved my music. I recorded like 10 songs in Eddie's house in Inglewood Cliffs in New Jersey. Hill. In Bubble Hill, right. Eddie let me use it. Eddie allowed Fetteroff to I'm a friend of Fetteroff. Eddie allowed Fetteroff and Vernon and them guys, us to use his $2 million added on studio in Bubble Hill. So I was, you know, come on, man. Fed had me shining back there. He had me, you know what I mean, straight up, you know. And I wanted to tell Fed, just to let him know, I know I got a little, in our friendship, I know that I got, sometimes I got a little off course and stuff like, because Fed, you remember, you met me with some of my most influential friends, even though you're one of my best friends. Some of my most influential friends, like Tommy and Merle, you introduced me to all the dudes, man. So it's like, and they're still my good friends. But me and you will always have the love like family for each other. But I almost felt abandoned from you because you were so busy, man. It wasn't, I guess it was kind of selfishness, but I was in New York doing my thing, trying to do my thing, take your lead and be on the same path, just like you, brother. But you kind of left me hanging, brother. And I guess it was kind of like, that's just my personality and your personality was classic. I used to have an attitude sometimes, Fed, because I miss you. That's it, brother. It wasn't nothing else. It was like, you know, I missed you. That's it, brother. You was busy and I missed you. And you know, when I reached out to you, you didn't have the time that I wanted. You never had that time because you had
Hey, Tap, we'll talk about that personal stuff off camera, man.
Okay.
No, I wanted to tell you that. I just wanted to tell you that, brother.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
It's just I just want love. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Thank you so much, Fetteroff. Thank you so much, Big Tap. That just shows the love and commitment, in my opinion. What about you, Lori G?
Yeah, I am very touched for the friendship that you guys have fostered all through these years and the amazing heart, Fetteroff, that you have, the giving spirit. I mean, even though we're on Zoom, I feel your spirit of giving, of your spirit of wanting to share and your commitment to your community. And I applaud that. I mean, there's not many people that my path has crossed that has that type of desire and commitment. And that's just special and amazing. I mean, you could be very condescending, right? And look down on people, but you just feel really down to earth. I feel that you're really connecting with everyone on the panel, and I really appreciate your time. My sister always says that's the one thing that you cannot get back is your time. And so we are just honored and grateful for you being so generous. I did have another question for you about your foundation. Is there a way that people can contribute or be a part or donate?
Yes. Go to pressonphilly.org.
Okay,
that's the website.
Pressonphilly.org. Okay, yes. I'm going to put that in our chat for all of our viewers to see.
And I have it on our Facebook as well. Fed, I have Meg Bourne. She's an amazing lady and follower of our show, and she's from Arizona. She would like to know what helps. She goes, what helps keep Fed humble and grounded amongst the crazy business of Hollywood? How did you remain that humility?
My mother. That's easy. My mother.
Your mother. Amen.
My parents. My father was a janitor. My mom, worked odd jobs and did what she had to do. And she's 80. My father's 84. They're just good, simple human beings. So it's good. I can take anybody home to my house. Black, white, Asian, Chinese, whatever. And you're going to get love. You're going to get food. You know, don't matter how much money you got, how broke you are, whatever. I can take a homeless person in my crib. Yes. It's love.
Right.
You know, so that keeps me humble. It's like, and I'm just born this way. It's simple. Life is simple. We complicate our lives. Life is simple and beautiful. We make it complicated. We look at the ugly stuff. We make it ugly. We look at the ugliness instead of looking at all the beauty and making it simple and keeping it simple and being grateful and being humble. And like I said, you know, if you're healthy, you got 2 eyes, 2 ears, you know, you got your faculties, and you fuck that up. Right. You don't want to do nothing, and something's wrong with you. I know people that have 2 eyes and still cannot see. They got sight and can't see. It's like, that makes no sense to me. You got sight, you can see, but you blind. You're so blind, you doing stupid shit. Still, in America. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely.
We got to do better.
You know, Fetteroff, you have such good advice for the millennials that are tuning into our show. What advice do you have in way of passing the torch on to them?
The advice I have to the millennials is that thank you, millennials, for what you're doing in the future. You know, you're paving the way, and my door is always open, and I'm open to listen to whatever. I'm open to listening to the millennials and the young people, because they are they have the antennas up. You know, they're receiving information that I might be slow to get or process. You know, so I'm an open book. I'm a sponge. I'm an open book. You know. That's one of the misconceptions about being an older person or whatever. I remember when I was a kid, and I used to look up at older people, and they used to look down on you, you know, and talk to you like, you know, like this. You know, just talk to you down. And I talk to people eye to eye. You know, I'll kneel down to a child and look a child right in their eye, and be humble and listen to them. So that's what I have to say to to the older people. Listen to the young people. Listen to them.
Yes. I love
Listen to kids.
Out of the mouths of babes. I love this. This has been a
just
beautiful,
be wise.
beautiful
Be wise.
time.
You know, just be open. Just be open. Be receptive. Be receptive, because we're on different frequencies. You know, it's energy. You know, it's energy and you know, it's frequencies. You got to connect on certain frequencies. You know, with people. Different levels, you know. So, I mean, celebrate our people. Check out, Wallow 267. Check out Amanda Seals on Smart, Funny, and Black. She's an important person right now, doing some great stuff. Check out Quincy Jones. He's 86 years old, one of our greatest legends still living. Check out all his body of work and what he's done outside of music, you know. And check out our artists and music, you know, people, you know, our musicians are great people, man. And read books, James Baldwin, man, you know, Alex Haley, you know, Toni Morrison, you know, we have some great Black writers, you know, that's what I'm saying. Just buy a book, man, because I never had a book in my house. I didn't realize that until I was, you know, in my 40s. You know what? We never had a book. I never saw a book. We didn't have a library. We didn't have books in our house. Wow. I'm like, what the fuck? You know? I never learned about James Baldwin in school. I was 26 years old when I got my first James Baldwin book. Fire the Next Time, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Giovanni's Room. 26 years old.
Wow.
So, education. We got to educate our people, man.
Yes, we do.
Keep education.
That's because
Stop. Don't think your choice is to sell drugs. That's your first choice of work. No, I'll sell lemonade before I sell drugs to my own people. Stop selling drugs. I will say that shit. Stop selling the fucking drugs, man. Why should that be an option for work, selling drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What good has drugs ever done for our people? Nothing. It destroys your fucking people.
Yeah.
Destroys your family, destroys your body, destroys
Yeah.
your children.
Yeah.
And it puts people in that place you talked about, Jackie. You know, that prison, those walls.
Yes.
You know, you're calm. That's where it puts people, or dead.
dead.
Stop selling fucking drugs, man. Sell fruit. You want to give somebody something? Give them something that's going to better their health, make them live. Give them a smoothie. Go to Jamba Juice or something.
Yeah. Organic sea moss. What about that? Right?
Yeah, work your way up. You start small, work your way up. Build.
Yes.
Don't sell drugs.
No.
Get a good job or start your own job and build. Fuck drugs.
Absolutely.
Amen. This is beyond.
I lived in Harlem. I lived with Jerry lived in Harlem. That's all you see up there. Same old shit in Harlem.
Same old thing.
Every fucking day.
Got it.
Tired of it.
Yeah.
Broken people, broken men. Go down on San Pedro. I've been to San Pedro. I used to take food down there. That shit is crazy sad.
Yeah.
And dangerous. Downtown LA. Shit is crazy.
And it's getting even crazier.
That's all over the country. That's not just downtown LA. That's every fucking city in America. You see the same shit. You see the same broken black men, broken fucking people. What's up with that? It's a system.
It's not good.
But you can't contribute to the system. You know?
That's true.
Just because drugs in my neighborhood don't mean I gotta take the shit.
Right.
You can dump all the fucking drugs you want in front of my house. Guess what? I ain't taking it. Just because it's there, or just because it's the street. Fuck that. I'm not. There's too many examples of what drugs do to you. So why should I? I can see. God gave me eyes. I can see what drugs do. So why do it? Be smart.
Right. Why even?
Absolutely.
I know.
So that's what I say to the millennials. You know.
Yes.
Learn from them and don't start your own business. Don't fuck with drugs. Don't fuck with drugs.
That's not good. I know.
Or what about the rioting and what do you feel about the protests and the rioting?
I feel good about it. I feel good about it.
Where's Rashid? Yes.
I love the energy. I love the voices. I love the fight. I love the protest. You know, that brings about change. You got to stand for something. I feel good about it. Fight, keep fighting. I stand with them 100%.
That's right.
Because you have to tear down these walls.
We have to make some sort of change because it's not going to change unless we make it. We got to get back on the front line. Sometimes we're dying of something anyway, but at least we can make it a purpose.
Yes.
Well, that's how black people. That's how we got what we got right now. It's all because we got where we're at because of protests and fighting and standing. We started it. We changed this country.
Yes.
You know, our grandparents, our forefathers, you know, they fought and died for this shit. The Indians fought, laughed. They said Indians fought and died. Black people laughed and multiplied. You know, so there are people that had to fucking take a lot of shit. My grandparents, who I knew, took a lot of shit just so that we could have a better life.
Yeah.
I knew my grandfather. I knew Tap's grandfather. They were good men, but all the shit they had to deal with growing up in America in the 90s, from down south.
That's a hard pill.
Wow.
So the shit they put up with so we can have a better life, I'm not fucking at it.
That's right.
There you go. This has been an amazing, amazing time. Thank you, Fetteroff. Incredible.
Guys.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you, guys. Call me anytime. You know, connect with some people and keep doing what you guys are doing. I support you 100%. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Own your show, own your content, and keep building.
Okay.
Ownership, own your show.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
All right.
Because you're building a library. You know, this intellectual property, you guys own it.
Okay. We shall. Thank you, Fetteroff. We
That's
appreciate
right.
that.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Tapper. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tapper,
And we're
like
going to take you up on that offer to have you back. You are incredible.
Anytime.
Hey.
You're incredible. Thank you.
Awesome sauce. It's been brilliant.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Tapper.
All righty.
We
You're
did it,
welcome,
everybody.
Fed.
It's a success. It's a success,
Unbelievable.
Big Tap.
Okay.
Listen, what can I say? I can't on after hearing that and after, you know, this was amazing, Fed. I mean, I got, to be honest with you, I got 5 times more than I expected. I expected a lot, but I never thought this show would exceed the way it did, man. You just blew me away, man. You know, I spoke less. I spoke less because you were so interesting, man. It's just everything
you need to get Cassandra. I'm sorry, Tap. You need to get Cassandra Calloway on this show.
Okay, Cassandra.
I will get Cassandra.
Cassandra Calloway.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to
get her on this show.
Got that job.
She's another person, very positive, a hustler that assisted me on a lot of things. And, you know, that's why
all right, guys.
she
Thank you
went
so much
way,
for being
way
with me
back with
tonight.
Fed
Thank
as
you,
far as
Facebook.
Radio
We had
City
Fetteroff,
Music Hall,
Colen,
back
Eddie
in
Murphy
the
Productions,
84,
so many other
83
things.
days in New
We're
York
going to
City.
get ready to head out.
Amazing
You too.
person,
Thank you for
Fed.
hanging with me, man.
You're still
Everybody.
at the end of the show saying
I love you
amazing
guys.
things.
Thanks so much for
Cassandra
tuning
Calloway,
with me.
that just killed.
I'll see you next
I'm going to
week.
get her on the show.
Yeah, get her on the show.
Okay. Good night.
Get her on the show.
What
All right,
you just
guys.
did,
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Fetteroff. We so
All right,
appreciate it. Mwah.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Press on. Press on.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, Poetess Rain.
Hi, Sissy. Okay, where's
Hey.
Tapper? And I'll just tap over. Are we okay? You were good, or?
I don't know, Rashid, are we clear?
Yeah, but she been gone probably.
Yeah, y'all been clear for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I could
Okay.
after A, Lori. I wasn't sure.
you know, hey, Lori, I think Fed just had some technical, he didn't have good Wi-Fi wherever
Thank
he
you
was
guys.
at,
Thank
but
you, YouTube.
to me, that
That's
show
good.
was
We
big,
still have,
Lori.
it was great. We still have our guest in our Zoom room that
All
is still
right.
with us.
Hey, let's do
Yes,
we could do a little after party wrap up. What you guys think
Great.
about the show? Did you guys have a good time?
Chris says, yes, thank you.
All right, Chris. Hey.
Chris, hey. We can see you now.
What she
I worked
said?
hard today. I'm tired. I was digging out. I was building meters, and I was so
You
tired. I
crazy.
was like,
All right, guys. Thank you so much, YouTube. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. I
Tab,
had a
that
good
was pretty
time.
good that
We're
you,
learning it. We're doing it.
you know, that you knew
Fetteroff,
all-
JackieRay Phillips,
Yeah,
yikesradio.com,
Hold on.
Lori G,
Hold on,
Tapper. We did it. I love you guys. Have a good night.